In this comparative study, I'll be exploring the film genre of man vs. nature films through comparing Hayao Miyazaki's 1997 Japanese film Princess Mononoke and Jordan Peele's 2022 American film Nope. The aim of this study is to explore the violent relationship between humans and nature, often expressed in tropes of monsters or forest spirits. One of the most central conflicts in storytelling and in cinema is man versus nature. These stories take on symbolic and allegorical meaning, where humans aren't just facing a shark, a bear, or extreme climates, but are facing their primal relationship with being integrated and harmonious with nature, or being alienated from it. The comparison of the two films is justified, as Miyazaki and Peele use similar film techniques to portray the genre of environmentalism and man versus nature films through vastly different cultural contexts during different periods in time. Comparing the two films revealed the central conflict of human relationships with their natural surroundings in very specific cultural moments. I chose to use the unconventional genre of man versus nature as my area of film focus, as films revolving around environmentalism are becoming more apparent due to the real-life parallels observed between human activity and environmental destruction. Both films offer an alternate perspective to the antagonizing and destructive depiction of quote-unquote monsters in nature, using mise-en-scene elements, shot composition, camera aspect ratio, and movement. Princess Mononoke follows the main protagonist, Prince Ashitaka, on his journey to the west to find a cure for his arm infected with a curse. On the way, he comes across Irontown, led by the town's beloved Lady Eboshi, burning down trees and starting wars against the forest gods, aiming to colonize more land and harvest more resources such as iron. He also meets San, a human girl who was raised and lives with the wolf gods of the forest. The focus and climax of the film surrounds the conflict between the humans and the creatures of the forest. Meanwhile, Nope follows Emerald and OJ, siblings who run the company Haywood Hollywood Horses, supplying big Hollywood films with stunt horses. Early into the film, they notice a mysterious alien in the skies and attempt to capture footage of the supernatural creature. OJ sells the horses to Ricky Park, also known as Jupe, the owner of a nearby western theme park, who makes a spectacle out of the alien. The focus and climax of the film centers around the protagonist, Emerald, OJ, Angel, and Adler's attempts to capture the alien named Jean Jacket on film. Both films provide an engaging social commentary on the cataclysmic relationship between humans and the natural environment, which categorizes them into the man versus nature genre. This comparison is explored through the lens of historical and geographical cultural context. In Princess Mononoke, Miyazaki explores the genre through traditional Japanese spiritual and mythological beliefs, stemming from the ancient Japanese religion of Shintoism. The core beliefs of Shintoism prioritize a love and respect for nature. Quoting Miyazaki, "I feel that the animism origin of Shinto is rooted deep within me." Miyazaki incorporates Shintoism into his films to highlight the environmental destruction humanity has inflicted onto the natural environment, resulting from consumerism and greed. Miyazaki informs his audience that Japan was once a verdant paradise that has been eroded away by the incursion of humanity. Alternatively, Peele explores the genre through the 21st century Hollywood obsession with the spectacle. This idea is further expressed through exploring the human relationship with the predatory side of nature and the consuming effects of capturing the spectacle in the real face of danger. This film is set and created in a time where capitalism and anthropocentric worldviews dominate Western countries, with exploitative practices for maximum gain or attention disregarded. Quoting Peele, "There's a real-world horror that animals are trapped in. They symbolize something that is very bad in us." The film even opens with a verse from the Old Testament prophet Nahum, the book of Nahum, chapter 3, verse 6, saying, "I will cast abominable faith at you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle." The book of Nahum shows the path of idolatry and exploitation only leads towards death and destruction. The themes of exploitation leading to death and destruction foreshadow Peele's depiction of the spectacle and relate to the greater themes of the consequences in man exploiting nature. Although not a conventional genre, man versus nature films are a product of the late 20th century, branching from the primary film genres such as action, adventure, and science fiction. In the past, a number of familiar genres such as film noir operate according to certain environmental parameters and expectations, even when nature does not seem to be thematically or narratively central. Man versus nature and environmentalist films from the past were often depicted using animation, with many animated films, especially from Japan, falling into the eco-anime category. However, with the environmental movement on the rise, many filmmakers in the West are creating live-action films following similar narratives, tropes, and film elements that separate themselves from Hollywood action or sci-fi. Man vs. nature and environmentalist films often use establishing shots and wide shots, as observed in both films, to immerse the viewer into the environment. Both films utilize techniques in cinematography and costume design to highlight the main theme of man vs. nature. Nope can be categorized within the man vs. nature genre, as the overarching theme of the film relates to the exploitation of animals. In addition to that, Peele uses cinematic aspects of filmmaking commonly seen in Japanese eco-anime films. Princess Mononoke not only fits into the genre, but can be considered considered as one of the first mainstream environment-centered films. Despite being released before the popularity of the environmental movement and the creation of the man versus nature category, Princess Mononoke features elements of storytelling and shot composition that cement the film's place within the genre. The cinematography in the two films capture the graphic, violence, and gore aspect within this genre. In Princess Mononoke, after Lady Eboshi kills the Shishigami, its head begins to expand and eventually burst. Miyazaki uses extreme close-ups as the Shishigami's head is expanding and bubbling up to build suspense and to give the viewer a looming sense of destruction to occur. When the head erupts, Miyazaki uses a point-of-view shot from Eboshi's perspective to show the body of the Shishigami almost manifesting and consuming her view. Meanwhile, kodamas are seen falling in both the foreground and the background. The magnitude of dying kodamas symbolize the death of the forest. A wide shot is then used to capture the blood-stained tree trunks in the background, showcasing the violent nature of this battle. Miyazaki then uses another point-of-view shot, this time from the human soldier's perspective, to allow the viewer to experience the intensity and power of the forest spirit. The colors within the sequence are a combination of dark purples and browns, juxtaposing earlier sequences of nature depicted using green and warmer colors. This shift in color changes the tone of the film as the embodiment of nature, the Shishigami, shows the gruesome consequences of environmental destruction. In Nope, cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema worked with Peele using IMAX cameras in portions of the film to play into the theme of spectacle within the film. IMAX cameras use a 1570 frame, which is twice as wide as the 35mm film used in regular theaters. Van Hoytema and Peele shot 40% of the film using IMAX, as the wider view captured immerses the viewer into the surrounding environment. Suddenly, you start seeing details in the hills around you, the stars in the sky. You experience the expanse of nature. We love that feeling, which also becomes a very scary feeling in the context of the film. Van Hoytema's use of IMAX beckons back to the romantic paintings of man and nature, where the sublime is expressed through immense frames of natural landscapes with small humans in the foreground to convey the fear and awe of the sublime experience of nature that Van Hoytema's cinematography also creates. These wide, spectacular shots, in addition to the establishing shots seen in both films, submerge the viewer into the cinematic experience. The audience is introduced to striking sceneries, which powerfully taps into the viewer's pathos when the same landscapes are seen plagued with destruction and death. Nature is unpredictable, and the desire to want to control or domesticate the environment showcases how small humans are in the sublimity of nature. Costume design is another notable element of mise-en-scene that is utilized in both films to not only build characterization, but to emphasize the division and misunderstanding between man and nature. San in Princess Mononoke wears an eye-catching clay mask, which closely resembles a Jomon mask from the Japanese Jomon period. The mask was worn in spiritual culture and rituals, which further builds on San's connection to Japanese mythology and Shintoism. The signature accessories she wears are made from animal-derived clothing, such as her animal tooth necklace and wolf pelt. Her wolf pelt is especially significant as it symbolizes the connection with her mother, the wolf god Moro. This aspect of San's costume design demonstrates how the forest has adopted and embraced her, even though she is human. Being raised by the gods of the forest, San shares their values, including hostility towards humans, stemming from hatred and misunderstanding. This idea is exemplified as she wears war paint throughout the film, symbolizing her violent and aggressive nature towards humans. Her costume design juxtaposes with the design of characters such as Lady Eboshi, who uses and carries modern destructive items such as a rifle. In Nope, costume designer Alex Bovaird carefully constructed each character's wardrobe to reflect their personalities, as well as foreshadow upcoming behavior and events. In addition, she included numerous pieces of animal patterns and animal-inspired clothing to convey the theme of animal exploitation.
We did a lot of animal imagery because of the gaudy theme and the, you know, the UFO ends up being an animal or an entity or a creature.
Through the character of Jupe, Bovaird crafts his costume design to reflect his attention-seeking, spectacle-obsessed character. This is also seen with the cinematographer in the film Antler, who wears mysterious, ominous clothing which reflects his peculiar character, willing to be symbolically and physically consumed by the spectacle. In the film, Jupe exclusively wears Western clothing that fits into the theme of his amusement park, including his red suit tailored to foreshadow Jean Jacket's abductions. Bovaird purposely made the Western clothing he wore to appear inauthentic and disingenuous to his character. His design is examples of what stardom does to people and being an attention junkie. Much of his offsetting, attention-seeking character is affected by his past traumas of being a child actor, where he survived an attack from his fellow co-star, a domesticated chimpanzee named Gordy. These costume choices and character moments relate to the audience how pitiful man's power and control is when trying to domesticate nature, either in the form of a primate or an ambiguous character-themed UFO in the sky. In conclusion, through the use of cinematography, costume design, and using tropes within the man versus nature genre, Princess Mononoke and Nope demonstrate the violent relationship between man and nature under the lens of Shintoism and the Hollywood spectacle.